Hello and welcome back to the Spiritual Warrior Experience channel. This video will build on the line of presence method from the previous video. Also, I will put a link to that video in the description below if you have yet to watch it, as that technique will build very nicely into this technique. Imagine we wake to a new day and abruptly receive bad news. A negative feeling arises within us. This feeling is both energy and yet it's like a spy. It creeps into our body, perhaps through our mind, maybe even our heart. It wants our energy. Our mind begins to chatter with troubling thoughts and maybe even emotions. But we don't realize it's a spy. We identify with this chatter as this chatter, and so we sink into a mood. That same day, we arrive at work and everything is incredibly busy. We already feel negative, and a second energetic spy creeps into our body. Internally, we sink further. Then, while at work, people start complaining to us. We feel hurt or annoyed by these complaints. A third spy, more problems pile up. Everything goes wrong. Fourth spy, the whole day goes wrong, and we are about to explode. We are losing energy. It is too late to remove the spies. We feel something rising within us now, starting in our solar plexus, building up until that energy arrives at our throat and we explode in anger. Our whole body becomes tense and rigid, and even if we manage to prevent this burst of anger, we become full of tension and we're full of dis-ease. If we are on the path of awakening consciousness, and we are working with alchemy and pranayama, raising our energy, we want to avoid going through a day at all like this, where an ego takes over our body and drains all the energy that we've been raising. We want a hermetic seal. Each day, while cultivating deeper moment-to-moment presence, we will inevitably encounter moods. First, however, we need to understand what moods truly are so that we can use this method to maintain our inner balance. Most dictionaries have many definitions of moods, but we're interested in the deeper meaning, right? Esoterically speaking, moods are inflicted by an ego or egos seeking to control our body, our vehicle. They drain us, they unbalance us. Egos cause us to suffer. So while egos are the 7 capital sins as they're taught esoterically, they can also be things like smoking, drinking, any type of addiction, especially negative emotions, negative thoughts. An ego can even manifest as a negative image in our mental perception, our mind. So now that we know what moods are and how they're connected to egos, let's visualize this. Let's imagine a horizontal line. This line represents the balance of our mood. On the left, we can see negative numbers, and on the right, we can see positive numbers. In the middle is a 0, representing balance. Our goal in every moment of every day is to maintain our inner balance, to remain at 0. For a good example of this state, we can observe a young innocent child. That is the middle point of inner peace and balance. And just to note, it's okay if we experience positive feelings. What's important is that we stay mindful of such a state because, like anything in life, it's temporary. It's a flame that will go out. If we grasp at positive feelings with lustful desire to have more and only those, this becomes an addiction. And furthermore, like the waning and waxing of the moon or the swinging pendulum of a clock, the positive will give way to the negative. Good times will give way to bad times. And the inverse is true. The negative will give way to the positive. Bad times will give way to good times. From the Gnostic teaching, we know that challenging problems, situations, and people will always end up appearing in life, sooner or later. These external events will cause egos to manifest within us. These opportunistic egos will attempt to diminish our inner state, or how we feel within. They'll attempt to drain our energy. If we identify with these egos, which themselves are really forms of energy, then we sink into moods. Thus, we need to be aware. We need to notice and eliminate any arising egos. So, how does this method actually work? I'll give 3 examples. In the first case, we're at peace, present. We remember our innermost self, our being, in each moment, from moment to moment. However, we're confronted suddenly by a challenging event or situation. As a result, we experience a negative thought, or a negative feeling, or a negative mental image, something that triggers an ego. We dip into -1. If we are alert and in the present moment, we eliminate the ego with help from our Divine Mother. We mentally petition by concentrating on a phrase like, "Please, Divine Mother, dissolve this ego," or "Please, Divine Mother, eliminate this ego." And with this divine help, we go back to 0 and return to inner peace, balance. Looking at the second case, imagine we are less alert, distracted by thoughts or emotions. A bad event or situation occurs. Starting at 0, 1 ego enters, but we briefly identify with it. So a second ego enters, then maybe a third one. Now we're at -3. Negativity is growing within us, creating internal instability. Even here, if we are aware, the ego can be eliminated. Even at -3, if we notice we are bothered by something, we can still mentally ask the Divine Mother to eliminate the ego. We can say, "Please, Divine Mother, burn this ego with divine fire." And until this feeling is gone, we continue asking the Divine Mother for help. We can use whatever internal phrasing works best for each of us. And if we ask our Divine Mother for help, she will listen, especially so if we ask with humility. When the negativity created by ego is gone and we've returned to inner peace, we can stop. In the last case, we return to the original example in this video. We are at 0, but we suddenly receive bad news at the start of our day, and an ego arises and sneaks into our body. Our mind starts to chatter with worrying thoughts, but we don't realize it's an ego, so our mood decreases. We feel more negative. We sink into -1. That same day, we arrive at work, and everything is incredibly busy. And because of the earlier bad news, we already feel negative, and another ego sinks into our body and causes us to sink into -2. Next, while at work, people start complaining to us because we are already distracted and identifying with our negative thoughts and feelings, our negative mood. We feel hurt or annoyed by these complaints. A third ego sneaks into us. We sink into -3. More problems pile up. We reach -4. Everything goes wrong. The whole day goes wrong. And we are in deep waters at -5. We are about to explode. We are losing control. It's too late to eliminate the egos at this phase. In the case of anger, this builds up again in the solar plexus and we feel it rising within us. And if we don't eliminate this ego, this gang of egos, they will go building up and building up until that energy arrives at our throat and we explode in anger in someone or we just yell. Whatever the situation, if negativity builds up, we lose self-control. Instead of our consciousness being in control, one or more egos are in control. This is why we must practice this method on top of cultivating our awareness every day. There is a Buddhist saying that gets to the core of this teaching. It says, "Watch your thoughts, because they become your words. Watch your words, because they become your actions. Watch your actions, because they become your destiny." If one is unaware, if one forgets to eliminate ego, then one's destiny is to be a prisoner of those very same egos. So let's integrate the previous video, the line of presence, with this line of mood and a new third line. This first line represents how to be alert and live in the present moment. and how to bring the mind back to the present moment every time a thought comes. The second line represents egos and moods that can affect us if we are not alert. This new line, the third line, is about the environment. The environment line can be pleasant or it can be dense and unpleasant. If the environment goes up from 0, it becomes lighter. For example, we arrive at work and there's a holiday party. Everyone is cheerful, everything is pleasant, and it's a nice day at work. That would be a +1 or +2. If it's a denser environment, we might arrive at work and there are various problems. The boss gives everyone a lot of work, people are grumpy, the environment becomes heavier and heavier and heavier. The first two lines refer to what's going on inside each of us. These two lines depend on our efforts. First, to remain alert and aware. Second, to maintain self-control and eliminate egos with help from the Divine Mother. This is the inner work of the Gnostic method. However, this third line represents the outside, the environment. It does not depend on us. These are external factors that will test our inner state. Along the path of awakening consciousness, when, let's say, higher beings decide we're ready for a test, the environment will change accordingly. Sometimes these ordeals occur in the astral or in our dreams, but also in the physical. Sometimes it's both. By maintaining self-control and balance throughout the day, and by dissolving egos, we gradually build strength. We can endure more. It's like an elastic band that needs to stretch longer and longer every time. We build self-control so that we can withstand more and more pressure, even when the environment turns sour or heavy. Whether or not there are long hours at work or lots of problems in life or difficult situations arise, remaining balanced during these tests, during these heavier environments, are key to progressing spiritually, to greater heights of astral projection, and even higher dimensions of awakening consciousness beyond that. Esoterically speaking, in order to ascend, it's taught first we must descend. This is something Samael says often in his lectures and his books. And there's a reason, there's a good reason. This is why our environment will become dense and go from -1 to -9. Why -9? Well, this is related esoterically to the 9 hells, the 9 circles of hell, or in Kabbalah, the 9 spheres of Qliphoth. This is the lower astral, or 5th dimension. It's like the ancient basement of our astral home that needs a very deep and thorough cleaning. The important thing to remember here is that there are levels to our practice, levels and levels, levels to our state of being, levels to our depth of meditation, levels to our lucid dreaming, our astral projections. So, with this environment line, it's really key to remember that we are given the test that and the environment that we are ready for in that time. If someone is very present and very capable of eliminating their egos and has been doing so with help from the Divine Mother, then they will be thrown heavier, denser environments. If someone is newer to this path, then they will be thrown maybe -1 occasionally. It's going to be suited to our particular level. And that's it for this video. These two recent teachings, they might seem very simple, but they are quite powerful. It will take some time to really chip away at the egos, but with weeks and months, the results become quite apparent through powerful lucid dreams and astral experiences. Please leave any questions or comments below. And thank you to everyone on Patreon supporting the channel and to everyone subscribing. Your support is most appreciated. In the third video in this little trilogy of teachings, I will be building upon these two teachings with an even deeper teaching that is also from the Gnostic teachings. So until then, see you next time.